I never thought that having a successful side business would turn into one of the strangest HOA battles I have ever experienced, but that is exactly what happened when my neighbor, who everyone in the neighborhood called Karen, decided that the amount of money I was making every month somehow had to be illegal. For a little background, I work a regular job, but over the years I built an online business that eventually started generating around $10,000 a month. It took years of learning, failures, late nights, and weekends spent working while everyone else was relaxing. The income was completely legal, fully reported, and honestly something I was proud of because it represented a lot of hard work. Most people in the neighborhood either didn't know about it or didn't care, but Karen was the kind of person who always seemed to know everyone's business. She watched who came and went, counted how many guests people had, complained about trash cans being left out too long, and somehow always found a reason to involve herself in things that had absolutely nothing to do with her. One afternoon I was outside getting a delivery when Karen walked over and started asking questions. At first it seemed harmless. She asked what was in the boxes, why I received so many packages, and whether I was running a business from home. I explained that I sold products online and that everything was approved under local regulations. She nodded but gave me that look that instantly told me she wasn't satisfied with the answer. Over the next few weeks I noticed her paying even more attention to my house. Every time a delivery truck stopped by, she would peek through her curtains. If I was loading items into my garage, she would suddenly appear outside watering plants that definitely didn't need water. Then one day another neighbor mentioned that Karen had been asking people how much money I made. Apparently she was telling everyone that no one in the neighborhood could possibly earn that much legally and that there had to be something suspicious going on. I laughed it off because it sounded ridiculous. Why would anyone care how much another person earns, especially if they're not breaking any rules? Unfortunately, Karen cared a lot. A few days later I received a letter from the HOA informing me that a complaint had been filed alleging that I was operating an unauthorized commercial enterprise and potentially engaging in illegal business activity. I couldn't believe what I was reading. Someone had actually filed an official complaint because they thought my income was too high. The complaint didn't cite any evidence. It simply claimed that the volume of deliveries and the apparent success of my business suggested illegal operations. It didn't take a detective to figure out who submitted it. I contacted the HOA immediately and asked for clarification. The representative sounded embarrassed. They explained that they are required to review complaints when submitted, even if they seem unusual. I provided business registration documents, tax records, permits, and everything else they requested. The process was annoying, but I wasn't worried because everything was legitimate. While the HOA was reviewing the complaint, Karen apparently became even more convinced that she had uncovered some giant scandal. She started telling neighbors that authorities would probably raid my house. One neighbor later told me Karen claimed she had done her research and knew that nobody could make $10,000 a month from an online business. Ironically, there were several people in our neighborhood making far more than that, but unlike Karen, they understood that someone else's income wasn't their concern. The situation escalated when Karen began photographing delivery trucks parked outside my house. One driver even asked me why a woman was taking pictures of his vehicle. I had to explain the entire situation, and he looked at me like I was describing a reality television show. Then Karen started emailing the HOA